We all know why we're here. So let me ask you a question then. Why the big secret? Truth seekers were really the true leaders. Keep it grooving, the movement like two-seaters. Turn it up, we're knocking through both speakers. It's time we get the truth from the big secret keepers. Hey, truth seekers were really the true leaders. Keep it grooving, the movement like two-seaters. Turn it up, we knocking through both speakers. It's time we get the truth from the big secret keepers. Hey, break it down, now can you peep it? They're deceiving all the people. Let me ask you, what's the secret? Misinformation and lies, a devious disguise. They want the EMF blast until our brains is fried. Oh, point their beams in the sky. Oh, it's a movie now. This world is all CGI, their plot is truly foul. But we're here to rise up and bring the real. Time is now, truth seekers, y'all know how I feel. Truth seekers were really the true leaders. Keep it grooving, the movement like two-seaters. Turn it up, we're knocking through both speakers. It's time we get the truth from the big secret keepers. Hey, truth seekers were really the true leaders. Keep it grooving, the movement like two-seaters. Turn it up, we knocking through both speakers. It's time we get the truth from the big secret keepers. Hey, why the big secret?
Hi, my name is Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge. You must be a part of my Manifest Destiny 2023 workshop. The last 4 years were absolutely amazing, and every year it got bigger and bigger as I impacted and touched more than 130,000 lives. With over 10,000 amazing testimonials over the last 4 years, this is something to grow on. This year is going to be the biggest and best year ever. All new science, all new quantum mechanics, all new metaphysics, all new manifesting techniques in a fully interactive online workshop that's going to blow your mind and set you and your family up for the rest of 2023. We have amazing guest speakers. We have the worldwide Tim Story. He's a life coach to the stars. He's an amazing teacher and a multi-times best-selling author on New York Times. We also have Elizabeth Hoekstra, another best-selling author, and her specialty is how to deal with the shadow work and the trauma, and how to clear your mind, and how to use modalities to clear your consciousness to help you get to higher levels. We also have Antonina coming on to teach trauma relief in a fully interactive trauma release class taught by a licensed person to help you release the trauma from your body. Trauma that's been impacted and stored in your body for a very long time. And I'm coming on to help teach all the manifesting techniques, the technology of the human body, how to access it, how to use it, how to fully utilize the laws of attraction to bend the matrix to your will and create the reality that you and your family deserve. Make sure you click the link ASAP in the caption of this video or in my bio and sign up on Eventbrite ASAP because space is limited. I want to see you there. Be ready for an explosive 2023. Peace.
Truth seekers, man, I am glad to see you. We're going to have a great show for you here tonight. And I got a few announcements that I want to make real quick for you. And definitely you want to sign up for that workshop that Billy was just talking about because it's real, man. It's real. I've been manifesting myself, taking some of the techniques that he's been talking about and really having a cool impact over the last couple of weeks since I came back from their house on New Year's Eve. And it's just been an amazing thing. And so I think if you are in 2023 and supposedly we're in that time that this is going to be the great year for all of us, then definitely attend that. Now, I want to make a quick announcement of a couple things that I want you to know. Truth Seekers, by demand and in necessity, we now have a place called Truth Seekers Community, is where, man, everyone can have that conversation in private conversation. And it's a community that's already done. We've been launching it for the last couple of days already. 4 or 5, or I think maybe 400 people is already involved. And it's a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about it. So it is a community site, which has its own app, as well as you can access it from the website. And it's free. It doesn't cost anything. So don't anybody worry about free. It's free, and free is forever. But real quickly, let me tell you what you're going to find when you go there. And then we're going to get into the show. One of the things you're going to see this, and it's called Truth Seekers. And we talk about the truth seekers. These are everybody who's seeking the truth. But in there, you're going to be able to have spaces where you can have conversations. You're going to have conversations about conspiracy. You got a lounge, what we got for the Bigfoot theories. We got star seeds where they're having communications right now. You got the paranormal, the unexplained. We have the religion and aliens. That's a hot topic. We got a section for UFOs. We got a section for Anunnaki and ancient civilizations. You got movies, also experiences, tell your story. And then we have the infamous, what I call Area 51. It's our own Area 51. So you definitely want to do that. And also there's a link in the bottom of this video. So you can definitely go there. And let me put a banner across the screen just in case you need to know it yourself. It's the Truth Seekers Community. It's the first of its kind. This is for like-minded people. This is for everybody seeking the truth. You can go in there, uncensored conversations, okay? But also, if you want to be tomorrow's new thought leader and you got some things you want to say, go in there and definitely be the one to post. And the community is us. So it's going to take us to truly be a part of that, and us adding to some other things as well. The last quick announcement so we can get into the show. I want to get your support. I have a new project that I'm working on, and a project is called Project B.L.A.C. Listen to me closely so that there's no misunderstanding of what I'm trying to accomplish here. And Project B.L.A.C. Is an acronym, and it's an acronym for Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge. Yeah, that's what it's for. But it's not just for Black people. It's also for indigenous people's stories. And because I've been doing this investigation thing for quite some time, and I now can come to you and tell you there is a disproportionate reportings in our community, disproportionate of representation in our community, which lands that the history and all the things that we want to talk about in ufology, UFOs, aliens, and all is really slim pickings. But the stories exist. People like you, your family, all of them. And so the whole tagline for Project B.L.A.C. is start the conversation. That's all we want to do, is start the conversation. So basically what you're going to find there basically is a space, and it's called Project B.L.A.C., and it's Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge. And you don't have, you can be non-African American or person of color and be part of the league. This is education for all of us in this, but I'm focusing on a group, which is my community, which needs those representations. So I hope that you all participate, go into the Truth Seekers community, go down into the space of Project B.L.A.C. I need all of the stories, our history, anything you can find and talk about when it comes down to what's happening and why. Because we know that there's a taboo subject when it comes down to this. And we know that, we know one of the underlying points. But since I've been doing this quite some time, I realized that there is a disconnect across both sides. And don't get me wrong, I know you know it. I know everybody know it. You look at all the documentaries, you look at all the stories. If you can go this way with some of the other groups. And then when you come down to our representation and stories and everything else, it's got nothing to do with a diversity thing. No, this is education for all of us, but we're going to focus on a culture that has some missing stories. People are afraid to talk and everything else. And so tonight we definitely got some things there. And so I hope that if you'll be a part of Project B.L.A.C, we may do some workshops and seminars. We're going to put this thing out here because my belief is, and let me tell you, I'm not talking about everybody who's part of Forbidden Knowledge. You are in the void, you're in it. We can use the word woke or whatever, but there's millions of people that are wondering. I get it every day when I tell somebody I'm a UFO investigator and they ask that simple question, are UFOs real? And so I know that they're wondering. Most of them are religiously and emotionally bankrupt because the system doesn't work for them, didn't work for their parents. Now they're feeling all this extra stuff and the cosmos and they're being called, but they don't know where. So we're going to create a vortex like Dr. B series talked about, and we're going to bring them in and then we're going to move them over to Forbidden Knowledge, millions of people. And I'm going to step out there. I'm going to take the arrows and everything else. And let me tell you how serious this is. And hopefully we're going to start the show. I got approached to have some people on our show last week. I didn't get to the email in time because we get a lot of emails. And, this group of people, and I'm going to call them out a little later, and we're going to talk. And it was just pretty much, what they said. They came back, and these people, this group, and I'm going to call them out because I want to call them out right off the back. And let me make sure I got my email to call them out because this is the part that I just want to know. These people represent this guy, okay? His name is Michael Horn. He's supposed to be the #1 person in ufology. And they wanted to be a guest on this show. And they was talking about how the stuff that they want to show. And they had a whole list of a laundry list of things that they wanted me to study, which took a while. And I have to study it and my show producers, because when we bring it to you, we got to make sure it's legitimate, regardless of what they say. I didn't get back to them in time. And we're talking 4 days. I get an email, and I'm saying this because this is serious. The email says, Roderick, based on your lack of response, listen to me closely. It seems this information is probably too advanced for you and too advanced for your audience. We withdraw our request and wish you well. This is ufology, people. This is one of the things I deal with. And to have somebody to signal out that you, my audience, is not smart enough, advanced enough to listen to more UFO talk, it's a whole different ball game, okay? And it was targeted toward what we see and what you see and everything else. But this is not the first time. I've had people that say, we told them we want them to be on our show here on Forbidden Knowledge, and we say, okay, here's our thing. This is our procedure. And they would say, well, y'all think y'all some big show. It's like, why they treat me like that or whoever? But this is why this thing it's serious when it gets down to belonging, but it's all for all of us. And I just wanted to share that with you because it ruffled not the feathers, but it poked the bear. And I don't mind calling those people out because I know where the intention came from. So I just want you to know, Project B.L.A.C, I hope you support it. It's an acronym. We're gonna have shirts. We're gonna have all these things, and it's an acronym for the Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge. And league, as you know, mean a collective of people, individuals, professionals coming together for a common cause, and that cause is one phrase: start the conversation. We got to start the conversation in our community. We got to get the young people not afraid to talk about aliens, religion, and all this stuff together. And those wanderers, we're going to bring them into this vortex, and we're going to send them into. So, Truth Seeker community, please join. It doesn't cost a dime. All it costs is you, community, participating. And like I said, we got rooms for UFOs, conspiracies, and we got rooms for the Anunnaki. All of the spaces in there for you to do it. And please be a contributor because this is for big cause. And the community survives with you posting your stories, asking your questions, answering other people's questions. And whoever's tomorrow's thought leaders, we're going to know who you are because you're going to be active, and we're going to bring you into our circle. You listening to me? We need you. It's time to come in it. And like I said, it's not just about if you are not a person of color. We are going to focus on a community that's disproportionate when it comes down to reportings, as well as representation. There's not a lot of me standing out here who's a UFO investigator. You didn't know that. But if you didn't know, I'm a TV personality. And in fact, let me give you a big announcement. I'll be on Ancient Aliens February the 10th. Make sure you watch that, come back and share. All right, so we're getting ready to get to it. Truth Seekers. All right, you are here, and it's Tuesday night. You're on Forbidden Knowledge TV. I'm Roderick Martin, and I'm your host of the show, Why the Big Secret, right here on Tuesday night. But you also can find me on the Why the Big Secret YouTube channel as well. You could have been any other place tonight, but you chose to be right here, right now. And with that being said, I'd like to take the time to bid you the well welcome of, I bid you good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the 24 time zones that this show shows. And let me give you a little background information. I'm located in that jumbo state. This is where those UFOs come out to play. It is a Texas thing, y'all. And everything big in Texas come with a promise. So we're going to be the boldest, baffling, belligerent YouTube channel in the world, creating captivating conversations that'll certainly cause controversy. And this is a show. It is rated R. It's not PG. Put the children to bed. If you haven't cooked dinner, I got a Texas recipe for you. We're talking about a little biscuit, some bacon, but we're going to change it up. We're going to do chili mac today. So get you some chili, some macaroni and cheese, mix it together, and you got something special. I'm telling you, I love it. You're going to love it. That's it. I got two guys that are going to be here tonight. They're going to tell their story. One going to tell his story the day he died. The other going to tell the story the day he felt he was abducted by extraterrestrials. And it's going to be a great story. We're going to interview each one of them separately. Hang around. And because there's something at the end of the story you got to hear. It's going to be magnificent. And anyway, I'm excited. I'm riled up like a tiger tonight. No, a lion, baby, a lion. So that's it. Let's get it going. How are y'all doing today? Let me say hello to anyone in the chat today. Hang on a second. I know. I was talking. That's what I do. So anyway, we're on it tonight. And like I said, don't forget, it's down at the bottom. Now, I'm going to do something special tonight, and you can participate if you want, okay? Right tonight, the tonight's show is going to be sponsored by whoever want to super chat. Started at $2. Whoever the highest chat is the person sponsoring the show tonight. So right now, if you want to, do $2, we're going to put your name there. We don't want to be a distraction from what we're doing, but you can be the sponsor of the show. And so I will look into the comments and we will make sure that exists from there. And if I miss you, charge it to the heart, not the brain, because we are working. All right. So I'm going to bring the first guest up. And this gentleman, his name is Tim. Tim is going to share a story with you. And it's got some turning points in this story. And it's really amazing because there's some special parts about this story that really intrigue me. It's going to intrigue you for sure. And make sure you hang around for the second story with Leonard. Leonard is going to share his, what we call the day he died. His after. Oh, wait a minute. So we have our first sponsor. Well, we got a tie. So we got to break that tie between Linda and Norton, and I'll put your name up here in just a second. But these are the two sponsors right now, and whoever, $3, you'll be the next sponsor of the show. We'll keep it going until whoever's sponsoring, we're going to get you out there. But right now we got a tie, so it'll be a little difficult typing both names in there real quick, but I will acknowledge both of you right here with the button that you are the tied sponsors for the tonight's show. So that's Linda and Norton. Thank you for that. All right. So, but the main time is to get that name down there in the banner and let everybody know you are the one. You are the one. But anyway, the story Leonard is an amazing story because he's going to really talk about his experience and how the afterlife and how he saw his whole life. And then some amazing thing about his daughter. Definitely some things she said. You definitely want to be around for that. So tonight's sponsor of the show is Run. So let me, I'm just going to leave it up there like that. So tonight's show is sponsored by Run. We'll just leave it on screen. And whoever has the highest after that will be the sponsor of the show. So I'm going to bring Tim in right now, and we're going to get started with it. Definitely be respectful in the comment. We got some moderators out there. We got some alligator moderators in here tonight. Oh, my God. All right. So we got Canadian Awareness. Of course, he's the authentic reptilian channeler. He is the tonight's sponsor of the show. Sorry, the rest of you hung around. Great, appreciate you. But now we have our highest bidder of the sponsor, so we'll leave that up right there for the sponsor of tonight's show is Canadian Awareness, and we'll do that. So let me get Tim in, and definitely we'll move on to there. And y'all gonna see Canadian Awareness' name up here all night, unless you want to be the sponsor of the show. All right, so Tim, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Rod, how you doing?
Doing all right, man. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you, going to share your story with us tonight. We got a good crowd. We got about almost 800 people in here, and it'll grow as the show continues. And so we definitely want to give them some impact tonight. And, selectively picking your story was one of the things that we did. And I think it's something that people will love and really should hear. So I'm going to let you begin and not let, this is a privilege for both of us, for me, for sure. So excuse that language, but we're just going to get into your story. So take us back first, give us a little background about you, and then we'll get into the story. And then we got some questions, and because, man, this thing has some amazing turns and twists. Let's talk about it.
Background about me: I'm an artist. I've always been an artist all of my life. I come from a family of artists and well-skilled people. But in the incidents that we're going to talk about is in our art phases. We were traveling and selling art all over the United States. And this particular incident happened in the southeastern United States.
Wow.
It's strange how it begins. I've heard a lot about other people's stories, and none were quite like myself and my brother's experience. We began by gaining time, if you can imagine that.
Okay.
One day we took a trip to we were actually traveling to a mall to sell some of our art in an arts and crafts show. It was a weekend thing, and it was to be ending Sunday afternoon at 5:30 p.m. And we're pretty healthy guys. We like sports, pretty active. We wanted to see the basketball game this particular day. Now, we lived a 1 hour and 45-minute drive away from where we were. And the game we wanted to see started at 6:30. We figured if we left out early, took our time, we might get home in time to catch the second half of the game. When we left the mall, we turned on the radio. We took off, we jumped on the highway, we got caught in traffic. When we did, my brother reached into the bag of cassette tapes. He put a cassette in the radio. Now, this is what alerted us that something was wrong before we even got into the house. Mind you, we're in traffic. The music starts playing. Traffic starts moving. I start driving. I'm sure you remember the cassette tapes from back in the day. It's you got about 25-30 minutes on side A before you have to flip to B side, right?
How old the story is, right?
Right. That's how far it goes back. I might be telling my age too.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, cassette tape, man. I used to go door to door selling them things. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it was music that we liked too. So it wasn't like we didn't know how long that side A was. Now, before we flipped to the B side, we were pulling up in our driveway. an hour and 45 minutes away.
Okay.
And I said, hey, wait a minute. Why are we home and we're just now turning to side B? My brother didn't have an answer. He looked just as confused as I was.
So we already
So
talking about loss of time here.
this
All
is a
right.
gain of time,
Gain.
Rod.
Oh my God. Okay, that's
It
a little
was a
different. Go ahead.
gain of time. Now, we went in the house. The game we should have been tuning in on halftime had just begun. It was still the first quarter.
Mm.
Why are we at home? Couldn't figure that out. So we left it alone. We just left it there. What else could we do? Nobody would believe us. Who do we call? Do we call the police and say, "Hey, we got home a little bit faster than we should have. We think something may be wrong." How big do you think that speeding ticket would be?
Okay. That's my
So,
question. No, it's yours. Go ahead.
that ended that incident there. We tried to push it to the back of our minds. Sometime later, we decided to move out of the area we were in. We were going to another area to open a store so we wouldn't have to travel so much on the road selling our crafts.
Hmm.
We happened to move next door to an Air Force base, which we began selling our crafts until our store was ready. We lived next to the Air Force base in a trailer park until the house we wanted to rent was available. Okay. Now, my brother had a date that night. This was a Sunday, and this particular Air Force base closed their merchant area at 9 o'clock. His date was at midnight. Now, we did everything we could to rush and get off because there was some place we wanted to go after closing and before his date. This place was maybe a 45-minute drive from where we were. We left the Air Force base and we went home. It took us all of 24 minutes, no, 15 minutes to go home, to close down our stand, go home and make the call to see if we could go and, make our run before we come back for his date so he can be on time. We were actually going to see my girlfriend, and she said she was home and to come on. We only had time to use the bathroom, myself and my brother. We both used the bathroom. We jumped right back in the car and we were leaving. It was no later than 9:30, 9:35 at the latest when we're back on the road to take what should have been a 45-minute drive at most. Okay, this was before cell phones. When we got on the road, we didn't think anything of it, but thinking back on it, we remembered there was only one car in front of us throughout the whole trip there. Okay. The place we were going, it was in the sticks, Rod. It's like in the outback country. When we came off of our exit, off of the highway, it was probably the darkest place my brother and I had ever seen. And my brother says, you know, if aliens were going to abduct us, this would probably be the spot.
Mm.
And we laughed it off. Giggle, giggle, laugh, laugh. Both of us are pretty tough guys. We're pretty fearless. We're not afraid of anything. So when we get to my girlfriend's house, she said, "What took you so long?" And we said, "What do you mean? We came straight here." She said, "You couldn't have. It's after 11 o'clock."
Mm.
And we scratched our heads and looked up at the clock because she lived right near the clock in the downtown square from the town she lived in. And it said 10 minutes after 11. Needless to say, we missed his date.
Wow.
Not a word from either of us, for most of the night because we couldn't figure out what happened. The next night, my brother woke up from a dead sleep and said he had a dream that we were abducted by aliens. Now, he was sick to the stomach. He went to the bathroom and he was throwing up blood.
Whoa. Hang on a minute. Let me make sure I heard that right. Now your brother, woke up and said, "Hey, I felt like we had been abducted," and you're saying that he had symptoms of, and they was throwing up blood.
He had a dream, right? He dreamed that we were back at that same point in time.
Hmm.
Strange as it sounds, his dream starts there.
But the blood was reality.
The blood was reality. When he woke up from the dream that he had, he was sick to the stomach and he threw up blood.
Wow.
Saw it with my own eyes. He
So what were you
dreamed that
thinking? What was y'all thinking at that moment then? I mean, did you think maybe, hey, we had too much to drink, or just, I mean, because did you connect the dots to think the two was part of that? I mean,
we didn't have anything to drink.
because that's my investigation part. I got to ask people, like, were you drinking? And some people be like, I had a little bit, and then I'll be
We
like,
didn't
"What's a
have
little
anything to
bit?" Like
drink,
a whole
right?
keg or something. But yeah, go ahead.
No alcohol, no
Okay.
drugs, no toxic chemicals from the environment, nothing.
Well, that's
Okay.
cool. Peer experience. That's what we want here. There we go.
When he woke up from the dream, he went to the bathroom and immediately threw up blood and told me about the dream. Now, I can tell you about the dream, but I'd rather not tell you about the dream yet. The following night, I had a dream. One night after his, when I
Mm,
woke up, I was sick to my stomach. I went to the bathroom. I threw up blood.
okay.
He
Whoa.
dreamed that we were back at that point in time. And after he said, if we were going to be abducted by aliens, this would be the spot, and we laughed it off. He dreamed that we saw something in the sky that looked like a UFO landing.
Mm. Describe what that looked like. Did he give a description?
He didn't give a description to me.
Okay.
He can probably be contacted, and maybe we can ask him if he remembers what the description is.
You bet your bottom dollar we're gonna do that. Yeah, but not now. But yeah,
But
we gonna contact him. Yes,
but
man.
his dream continues. We pulled over, being the fearless kung fu guys that we are. We both are
Okay.
pretty good at martial arts. We went gung ho to see what this was that we saw flying through the sky and appearing to land. And we saw a craft with three beings outside of the craft looking at us.
Say that again now.
In his dream, he saw three beings outside of the craft looking at us, looking at us, looking at them. He says, I just came out of the bushes and started walking towards him. He tried to stop me. and one of the beings put his hand up and he couldn't move. And I continued and left with him.
Wow.
And in his panic, he woke up throwing up blood. My dream. When we come off of the exit off of the highway, and he says, if we were going to be abducted by aliens, this would be the spot. And we laughed it off. We saw something that appeared to be a meteor.
So it
But
sounds like they heard you, is what you're saying.
I don't know. I can't even speculate on that. All I'm doing is giving you my dream at this point, which was the following night.
Bring it. We ready. Good stuff.
I remember seeing in my dream something flying through the sky that I wouldn't say looked like a UFO to me. It looked more like a meteor. But there was no crash, and it looked like it would have crashed nearby us. There, should have been some type of impact. There was no impact. I remember pulling over in the car and getting out and walking through the woods and coming across what we thought to be some type of ship, a small ship with two beings outside of the ship, humanoids that they were not human. They did not look completely like what we call gray aliens. And I felt an uncontrollable urge to go to them. My brother tried to stop me. One put up his hand. My brother froze. I continued. I left. I black out. I wake up on a table. When I wake up on the table, I panicked. I jumped off of the table and ran out of the room and came across two other people that I recognized. In the panic, just running around, trying to figure out where I was and a way out. Me and these two people that I came across found what appeared to be some type of control room with a big screen.
Can you describe
And
what those people look like a little? Do you have like
the
facial?
people that were with me,
Yeah, I mean, these are human.
these are actually people that I know personally.
Okay.
They look like real people. The people that I found that
Did you
were also there with me. Now these other beings,
did you know those people? They were just some people.
yes, I still know them to this day.
Oh, okay.
When we found this room, there was just strange controls and a big screen. And we started playing with the controls, and it seemed to cause some type of shift, a physical shift in the room. And the screen moved. So we figured maybe we were on some type of flying device because we could feel an almost like an effect of inertia.
Hmm.
So we took controls and started maneuvering around a bit, and we could see what looked like the surface of the earth.
Oh, I got a question. Was it flat or round?
Here you go, Rod.
Listen, this is the theory. I'm not trying to make a joke of the story, but you are first-hand account looking from the other angle. Was it flat or was it round? We gotta know. We gotta end the debate today.
Oh no! Why you do this to me?
I know we're gonna get ragged right now because everybody's listening to the story. So let me be a good host. Continue with the story, sir.
Nope. I'm gonna address it. Oh, y'all people out there. I was not far away from it enough to see that there was nothing underneath. Okay?
Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow's politician.
So, I can see a dome on top.
Go ahead. The latest congressman, but go ahead.
All right. In this maneuvering and seeing the top of the earth, we saw what looked to be some type of flying machines chasing us.
Oh, it's getting real.
So in a panic, it was, if you can imagine a video game controller, and you know, in a panic you trying to fly off, that's what that felt like.
Okay.
But we could feel every movement, and we were just trying to get down to the surface of the earth. And in maneuvering and getting closer to the planet, and us knowing we were being chased, not being able to really control whatever we were flying on, we nearly crashed.
Wow.
And just before we crashed, I woke up and I threw up blood.
All right. So let's pause there for a minute. Number one, let me give a little station identification. Tonight's show is brought to you and sponsored you by Matthew Singh. Why? Because he's the top super chat for tonight, and it's just going to stay up there until whoever decides that you want to sponsor the show. And the super chat right now is what you see. It could be a penny over. Yeah, we'll do it. But now we're going to do increments of 5. So if you want to sponsor the show, otherwise, congratulate Matthew for tonight. All right. So Tim, I have a couple of questions because there are some more components to this story that I think everyone needs to really hear in just a moment. And then also let y'all know, coming up next, we're going to have Leonard, and Leonard is going to talk about his afterlife experience. But what's really amazing is his daughter and something that she said that is pretty you got to hear, because you know there are some kids out there and stories that are now having life regressions and seeing their past lives. There's a story out there where a kid solved his own murder, telling his parents who murdered me. And so you definitely want to hear our second story tonight, pretty much from there. And real quickly, we're going to show a couple of video breaks here. Definitely for the man of the house there is a workshop coming. It's just about 1 minute and 30 seconds. And so we're going to dive right back in here with Tim, because what we're going to be talking about next is off the charts when I say that. And we now have a new sponsor of the show. There we go. Girl from the Bay is now our new show sponsor. There we go. So
hey, girl from the Bay.
That's what I'm saying. Appreciate you. Let's get this commercial in because you got to manifest destiny.
Hi, my name is Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge. You must be a part of my Manifest Destiny 2023 workshop. The last 4 years were absolutely amazing, and every year it got bigger and bigger as I impacted and touched more than 130,000 lives. With over 10,000 amazing testimonials over the last 4 years, this is something to grow on. This year is going to be the biggest and best year ever. All new science, all new quantum mechanics, all new metaphysics, all new manifesting techniques in a fully interactive online workshop that's going to blow your mind and set you and your family up for the rest of 2023. We have amazing guest speakers, We have the worldwide Tim Story. He's a life coach to the stars. He's an amazing teacher and a multi-times best-selling author on New York Times. We also have Elizabeth Hoekstra, another best-selling author, and her specialty is how to deal with the shadow work and the trauma, and how to clear your mind, and how to use modalities to clear your consciousness to help you get to higher levels. We also have Antonina coming on to teach trauma relief in a fully interactive trauma release class taught by a licensed person to help you release the trauma from your body. Trauma that's been impacted and stored in your body for a very long time. And I'm coming on to help teach all the manifesting techniques, the technology of the human body, how to access it, how to use it, how to fully utilize the laws of attraction to bend the matrix to your will and create the reality that you and your family deserve. Make sure you click the link ASAP in the caption of this video or in my bio and sign up on Eventbrite ASAP because space is limited. I want to see you there. Be ready for an explosive 2023. Peace.
Peace. All right, we're back. Real quickly, that definitely, go to Eventbrite. Make sure you guys sign up for that. If you missed the other day when him and Dr. B. Serious, I'm sorry, my boy Doctor, he's gonna kill me for this. But that 8-hour, 10-hour workshop, man, it changed my life. I'm telling you, from all of that, I've been doing my 3-6-9 meditations and affirmation. You'll learn that creating the vortex. This is what we're doing now. But anyway, we got Tim here. Tim, if you just tuning in with us, is sharing his UFO alien, I call it, abduction experience. And it's getting ready to get a little deeper because there's some things that him and I discussed. And I was going to leave it out because it may be a little, graphic for y'all, but I think you need to hear it. But real quick, as you know, we launched the Truth Seekers community. You can find it at there's a link in the bio. You can just click it, not the bio, but here in the video description, and come on over. It is a community where we're talking about a lot of uncensored topics, conspiracies, you name it. You can download the Mighty Network app and then you can use it within there as well. But also, as you've heard, I'm launching Project B.L.A.C. And let me just give you a quick description that B.L.A.C. Is an acronym, okay? And it's an acronym that stands for the Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge. There is a space within the community. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to put up a new website for it. It's an initiative that I discover and not just discover, but I want to bring it forward. That there is a lot of disproportionate stories and especially in our community and the indigenous community. So it's for both, but it's for everybody, none people of color, whatever, Black, participating because we're digging for information. We're digging for lost stories, uncovering stories, bringing stories in a community to surface that is, in most cases, a taboo subject. Y'all know that. This man right here has a lot of courage. And we're going to talk about that later in the show about him, coming forward, but being here on camera, telling you where some people can be thinking it's some weirdness. But this is going to open up the doors for other people to come forward because I guarantee you there's other people having these experiences in our community because of shame, ridicule. Don't talk about it. Now, I can go all the way back to history real quick why you're not going to hear about it, because between the 30s, 40s, 50s, the only reporting agencies wasn't UFO agencies that I worked with. There was the local police department. And let me answer the question for you. What African-American person would have went to the police department during those times, KKK and all this, and say, oh, by the way, I saw a UFO or I was abducted. And we saw how they was treating white people. They was treating their white people bad and losing jobs, all of this talking about this UFO thing. So imagine another community that they look a little less. So all of a sudden, that means during that time frame, the stories was suppressed. They're not there. And so Project B.L.A.C, we're going to pull them up. We're going to bring it to the surface. We're going to try to get more representation like me that's out here, because more people that's in this game, there's more people to come to tell these stories to. And then we got a lot of wanderers from there. So get on the Truth Seekers, hit the link down in the description. It's a free thing. Just get in there, start the conversation. We're looking for tomorrow's thought leaders. for whoever's promoting those conversations. We're going to see you, and we're going to bring you into the inner vortex that we're doing now with Dr. Be Serious, and we're going to bring them all into forbidden knowledge. So we're going to get all the wanderers, the people that are religiously and spiritually bankrupt right now because it don't work for them, didn't work for the parents, so they lost. We're talking, there's a whole generation, and we're going to bring them in so they can meet you, the people that's woke, the people that's already got that ascension of knowledge happening. And so that's my soapbox. Let's get back on the show. Tim, one of the things that we talked about, because I want to bring in our second guest, is we just heard about the story that you're throwing up, and most people would think that was probably the highlight of it all, meaning ooh, but there was more, in more detail. Take the audience to when you went to the barbershop, or what's going on here, where we may have seen some other things happening that you discovered that will further validate what has happened in this encounter.
Well,
And you can be as
some
graphic as you want, because these are the adults. They already put all the kids to bed and gave them the macaroni and cheese recipe. So let's go with it.
all right. Well, it wasn't much later that continuing on with life after what we call a crazy set of experiences. I went to the barbershop. I needed a haircut. In having my haircut, when the barber got to a particular section in the back of my head, he cut over a section, and it felt it felt like he cut the strands of my hair and they were going to bleed. It felt like I could feel those strands of hair he was cutting, and it was like he was cutting into my flesh, and it hurt. I winced, and I held my head, and I knew he didn't cut me. I knew he was only cutting hair. When I came back up, he continued, and when he got done, he gave me a mirror so I can see my hair. I asked him for another mirror so I can see the back of my head. And when I looked at the back of my head and that section there where it hurt, the hair was gone. It was missing. And I felt it. The skin was smooth, but the more I touched it, the more it hurt. The spot hurt, and it was soft. And as I began to feel around, the shape of my skull was different and in pain.
Whoa.
Like it had been open. And I told my brother about it. And when I told him about it, we cut his hair, and he had the exact same thing in the same spot on his head.
Well, I mean, could this be genetics? Y'all brothers, or are you saying it's something out of this world, so to speak?
We have many other brothers.
Okay.
None of them have this. We didn't have it before this incident. And I don't know about him, but to this day, my skull is still not shaped like it originally was.
Now, having said this, this is just me. This is what I do. So we're going to take us on a quick ride for a second. If this is happening to you and your brother, meaning obviously, because Whitley Strieber, comedian, he talks about having implants and things like that. What came of this? I mean, were there any after effects, or, because obviously now you've been tainted with, I mean, now are you, have an ESP, because I get a lot of stories that people come back after these experiences. Now they can do telekinesis. Is all, and I don't talk about this a lot because I'm still like trying to validate. Are you having these things? What was happening with you guys?
I had some experiences after that. Now,
Okay.
I can't say that it was related to what was going on with my head, but right around the same time period, me and my brother were in the process of opening a store, like I said. When I opened this store, when we opened our store, we would take consignments from the other local artists in the area. Some we knew, some we didn't.
Okay.
And there were people that would bring some interesting things for us to sell. Uh, Games and such, paintings, jewelry. Sometimes one guy brought what he called mind expansion posters, and we were selling them. They came in a set, and he suggested that I put them on display and let our customers use them every day, and they'll buy them as they want to. Those posters sold. It became a very popular item, and I was using them myself. And he explained that these posters, the ultimate goal of these posters was to condition you or teach you how to access the other parts of your brain that you don't normally use.
Okay.
Um, what you should experience after using these posters or while using these posters over time, you should begin dreaming in color, because it was a popular belief that we don't actually dream in color, and also dreaming in 3D, because it's believed that in our dreams we don't dream in three dimensions.
Okay.
So after a few weeks of using these posters, I began to dream in 3D and dream in color. And that is when I realized that I had not been doing so all along. The dreams were very vivid from
Hmm.
that point on. Now, time goes on, I start to feel different. I start to feel a different energy in my body and in my chest, a stronger energy.
Hmm.
And when I was in my home, I could hear my voice echoing and bouncing off the walls and just radiating inside, inside my house. I didn't think much of it until my girlfriend at that time came over to spend the weekend,
And don't
and
tell me she was like, it is different now.
she did notice something different.
I just had to throw that in. I'm sorry, I would get in trouble.
Yes.
I mean, my audience would be like, no, keep letting him talk. Yeah, but go ahead. I just have to. I mean, hey, listen, it's an experience. If everybody, it should be experienced. If it's, never mind. We go ahead.
Well, it was a nice weekend, and it was one of those
We got
weekends
to
where
interview her too. She got to tell us how it.
I wish we could find her.
Oh,
I
okay.
wish if baby, if you watching the show, please call in. I've been
Please
looking for
call
you
it.
all this time. I
Inquiry
don't
line.
know. I don't know what happened. I don't know where I went wrong, but maybe this has something to do with it.
That's all right, man. You can do that. We go put out a hunt for her, but go ahead.
Anyway, her friends came over, and I invited my friends over for her friends, and we partied. And when we decided to turn in, we went to my bedroom. The night continued. We went to sleep afterwards. The next morning, as the sun was coming up, I could feel the heat on my face
Mm.
from the sun. And it was such a nice night, and she got such a treatment that, I just chose to ask her, "Are you
Out of
okay?
this world. Out of it. Oh, you asked her, was she okay? All right.
Are you okay?
Like that, huh?
Yeah, are you okay?" And she answered.
You know we gotta hear the answer. You cannot leave what she replied out.
She said, "Yeah, she's okay." But that's where I'm going to leave that part out.
Okay.
All right.
We'll
But
leave.
the conversation did continue.
Okay.
Now, I got up and I I rubbed my eyes, cleared my eyes. I looked out the window, beautiful day, and she continued talking. But I looked over at her and she was asleep. She was half asleep. Her eyes were still closed.
You think?
But she was talking. She was,
Oh, okay.
continuing to answer my question. We were having a conversation.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I think of that.
So, when it was my turn to respond, I went to speak and I had to clear my throat. And when I cleared my throat, she jumped up. And when she jumped up out of panic, I sort of asked her, "Who were you just talking to?"
Oh, really?
She said, "Didn't you say something?" And I couldn't play it off. Yeah, I did. I did. Now we were both realizing that I hadn't said anything with my voice box.
Oh, yeah. I know where she's going now.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, that's that run them off real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. She panicked. She got her stuff packed up. Her and the girls left, and I have never seen her again.
I want you to pause there because we have another guest we want to bring in, and I'm gonna bring y'all both back together for some questions. In our show sponsor tonight is going to get to ask the questions, whoever the highest. And so, girlfriend of Bay, you're going to get 2 questions for the guest, and we can, if you want to, right now, post your 2 questions, and then we're going to move to our next segment. So our highest $50 right there, girlfriend of Bay. You are, she says, wait, did she leave? No, girlfriend of Bay. Oh, okay. Is that a question? One of your 2 questions. So she says, wait. Oh, no, wait, why did she leave? So that's one of her questions. And from your perspective.
I think she was afraid.
Okay.
She asked me, she didn't just pack up and leave right away. We had a conversation, but in her conversation, she asked me what I am.
She said, what are you? No longer knowing who you were that she initially laid down with. Now she felt that there was something else that she was with.
Yes.
Jesus.
She
Okay.
said that she did not feel like I was a human.
All right. So, okay. So we're going to pause right there. And girlfriend, babe, we'll get your questions on the other side. Okay. We're going to get our next guest in. I'm going to put you in the studio. We're going to bring both of you back up for some Q&A a little bit. Fair enough, Tim?
Fair enough.
All right. So let me get you back down in here. Wow. And I just want y'all to know what you're seeing tonight is a direction. My show producer and we decided that it is time, as we focus so much on the skies. I do that for a living. I'm a UFO investigator. It is time to start focusing on what's happening with people on the ground. So every week you get ready to hear stories from the ground. We got some guests that's coming next week, going to share some experiences that's going to blow you away. Then on Wednesday on Why the Big Secret, Wednesday and probably on Fridays, you're going to hear more guests. So we're going to be doing it here on Forbidden Knowledge, and also at Why the Big Secret YouTube channel, because I have a different channel, my own channel there. And the link is in the description. So if you want to subscribe to Why the Big Secret so you get the notifications, you get ready to hear this. You get ready to hear the stories. You ain't going to find them anywhere else. You can be the determination of how strange it is for you. But I promise you, and I looked in this chat, there was a lot of people saying some things that was congruent with what he was going through. So just as I figured, it's a lot of people being affected, and when it's time for us to bring these stories up, not only through Project Black, but everything else. And I hope that you are going to have a new experience that we're gonna take the bullets right here, and we're gonna go for it right here with your support. And once again, thank the person right now, girl from the Bay. Y'all give her a shout out in the chat that she is new, not new, but our highest. So she's sponsoring the show right now. So the next story we're going to get to right now, let me prime this up for you. I don't know what you think about the afterlife, but we got a true account that's next. He's going to explain his afterlife experience, not only at a young age, but that young age allowed him to see the future, and it played out, but also the experiences, some research that he's done, some questions that he's done. And I want you to also do your own research, because there are children all over right now reporting afterlife experiences. Yes, it's happening right now. You can look it all on the YouTube, not YouTube, but the internet. And it's happening in real time. It's amazing. There's a story right now where this 3-year-old, he recalls his past life. He identified the killers, and then also gave the people the location of the body. So we're here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Why the Big Secret. I'm Roderick Martin. Nothing will be the same ever again on these shows Tuesday nights. I promise you, you will not just be entertained. You're going to be informed, but we're going to also give you some of the greatest stories out there. And then come on over to Why the Big Secret. You're going to hear some more of these stories. And the journey has just begun, not only with Project Black here, and we're going to have some indigenous stories too. So let's get with it. Let's move on to the next story. I'm going to bring up Leonard, and he's going to talk about what's happening with him. And if you yourself have some experiences and you're not afraid to come on camera, go into the Truth Seekers community, and it's down in the description. There's going to be a space that says be our show guest. Okay. You click that. We're going to bring you into a space. We're going to talk to you about your experience, and you too could help humanity in what we're doing. So without further ado, our show is now being sponsored by the girl from the Bay, and we have my man, Leonard. Leonard, how are you?
How you doing, Rod? Thank you for having me on the show, bro.
No, man. Thank you for being here, because, oftentimes to come forward and stuff like this, people have to really get over the courage, not get the courage, but also understand that they are talking to strangers. They're talking to other people. And in the chat right now, there's people saying, hello, Leonard. So y'all give Leonard a kudos, because it takes a lot to come in front of 1,254 people live. And then it's going to probably be another 30,000 people, 100,000 watching this video, and people are out here. Okay. And so we're here. So, Leonard, first of all, we're talking about, we're going to be talking about afterlife with you. And I'm not going to give my personal sentiments of it, but it's not that I don't believe that we reincarnate, and we've been here before. And I think you and I talked about a little bit about deja vu. We're going to start with deja vu. Just give us your indication of it. And then I want you to take us back, to when it happened, when you died in this whole thing. But let's start with, because I think deja vu is a good setup for people to grasp a little bit about what we're going to be talking about a little bit, because they maybe have the little premonitions themselves. So go ahead. Just get a little short version of
it. Deja vu's, as far as I understand it, and my understanding comes from my experience, I have to tell you a little bit of it to give you a clear understanding, but I'm sure many of your listeners have heard people say, well, I had my life flash before my eyes,
Yeah.
during any kind of accident or health issue, more than likely somebody could see, say something like that. Well, in my case, um, it was, I had what's called life review. Okay. As far as I can understand, I think everybody will eventually have one of these. And
Mm,
what is this? Okay, I got hit by a car, and after getting hit by the car, um, I had an image pop up. I'm fast forwarding it a little bit since you wanted to hear about the deja vu part, but
no, then let's not do that. I don't want to lose the audience. Let's go ahead. Let's go from the beginning. Let's because they hear and I know
okay,
I know my
um,
audience. They don't want to miss nothing, and I ain't gonna allow them. I don't want to get beat up over it. So
okay,
take us back to the moment, and let's start there.
okay. I was 3 years old, a little bad kid, and my uncle had walked out of the door. And it was back in the days, we had those screen doors that was you can open and they close again by themselves. Well, I pushed it open after he left, and I started following him down the sidewalk. Um, I was making headway, I thought, but eventually he got a little farther away from me, and I started running a little, trying to pat a little faster. Well, I patted and patted until I stepped off this curb, and when I stepped off the curb, it's like time slowed down for a second. I
Okay.
mean, like literally, time slowed down for a second. And I saw something for an instant. Um, and it's like whatever it was I saw, it stopped in front of me. And just as quickly, it moved to the right. So as I'm looking to the right and trying to see what there was, in my peripheral, I could see a car coming toward me. Or I now know it was a car, but at the time I just knew something was coming toward me. As I'm turning to see what it was, I was hit by the car. Now, after getting hit, I don't think it was the car itself that facilitated the near death experience as it's known now. But I think it was my head, the back of my head hitting the concrete so hard. But when I hit the concrete, I could still see. But the only thing that was different was that I couldn't move. I could, I'm looking up and I'm looking up at the bumper
Mm,
and I'm trying to make my body work. I'm trying to move and I couldn't. I was really trying to make my body work. And I'm struggling and doing this for a minute. And all of a sudden, I hear a voice say, let go. Now, I heard the voice, and to be honest with you, it sounded somewhat familiar, like I should have known who it was, but it kind of scared me at the same time. I was only 3 years old. So after hearing this, I frantically tried to move again to make my body work. And after doing this for a while, I heard a voice say again, "Let go." At this point, trying to make my body work, it was almost like it was a workout. It was like it was really making me spend a lot of energy trying to make my body work, and I was tired. So by the time I heard that second "let go," I was ready to let go. Um, and thinking back on it now, it was like I was actually fighting to stay inside of this body, which is why I was told to let go. So when I
mm,
heard the voice tell me to let go the second time, I was exhausted and I just like let myself go to whatever was coming next. And the minute I decided to do that, I felt a vibration that went from the bottom of my feet all the way up to the top of my head. And it had a sound associated with it. It was like woo, 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 woo. And when it finally, speeded up to the point, it was like almost like it's uh, happening all at once. It just stopped, and when it stopped, I felt myself. Okay, if you've ever been in an elevator, when the elevator first starts to move, you feel that disconnect, like the cables. Well, that's exactly what it felt. It's like it was a disconnection from my body. I actually felt that disconnection, and when I did, I felt myself kind of floating or gliding. And the next thing I know is I'm standing on the other side of the street. It was an intersection. And now I'm looking at things from a third person perspective. But the first thing I noticed was that the colors were different. Like, we live in a world of color. What that was all gone. What I was now looking at was everything was like it was in black and white, or it was like it was like the negatives of a photo. That's exactly what everything looked like. It was like it was the negatives of a photo. And as I'm looking at all of this, I look and see it was a figure across the street. And looking at this figure, I don't think I could really tell you about her, was that her hair was long. And she told me to come to her. And and when I first heard her, and she told me to come to her, but it wasn't verbal. It was like she thought it, and I got it in my ear like I'm speaking to you. She told me to come to her, and I was like a little nervous. So first thing I thought about was I'm gonna get hit again. So I told her I'm like I don't want to. I'm afraid I'm gonna get hit again. So she informed me that I would be okay and to come. So somehow I rustled up the courage to come to her, not even know how I was gonna come. But the next thing I know, I'm moving again. And when I started moving, I see blackness. And within this blackness, I saw a picture of me pop up. And when this picture of me popped up, I'm looking at this picture, and I'm 3 at the moment. But in the picture, I was about 9 or 10. And on top of that, I had brothers now. So, and they were in the picture. And as I'm looking at this picture, I'm remembering the moment.
Mm.
It's still hard for me to fathom how that is, but I'm remembering the moment as if it had already happened. So it's like, oh, I remember that. So this picture goes by, then another one comes up, and next thing you know, it's going by like this. But to me, it was like it was going by milliseconds. It's like I was living every instant of every flip. So as I'm looking at this, I notice a
Did you
bright
feel
light.
like emotions and stuff too? I mean, when
Well,
you know,
yes, like it's no different than the movies that we watch right now. That's what it was like. It
mm,
was like I was looking at a movie of my life being played for me after death. So as I'm looking at this movie, I see a bright light. It was a little bitty thing, but it was bright, and it was almost like to the right of me. So I'm looking at these videos as they're steady going by, and this light seems like it's getting closer. So I'm looking at these videos, and they just stop. All of a sudden, it just stops on one picture. The next thing I know is I'm looking at a young man, and he had his arms around a girl. And as I'm looking at this picture, it looked familiar to me. I'm like, wow, why how does this picture look so familiar to me? So as I'm look, asking myself that question, the thought just popped in my mind. My son, this is my this is my son, and the realization hit me, and I was like, whoa, this is my son. This is my son, and so I'm kind of dealing with that, and I guess after dealing with that, the videos or whatever they kept going, and eventually they end. Now, when they ended, and hold on, I'm sorry, I'm gonna back up. That's where I think the deja vu's come from.
mm,
I am under the impression now, based on that, that we all basically chose these lives, and we watched the videos of the life that we could live. And in order for us to live these lives, we had to have that memory wiped away from us. But some of it like still is in there, and it like leaks out every now and then. So um that's where I think deja vu's come from. I think that we were all shown these lives and chose these lives for whatever reason. So I don't know if you want me to continue with the story or you want to delve more into the deja vu's, but that's where the deja vu's ultimately, I believe, come from.
What I what I want to do, um, I'm just trying to get when you was having this film roll, I'm gonna call it, and it's going fast and you're seeing the future, but yet you this 3-year-old, but it's showing you your life to be. Um,
Hmm.
and I'm not gonna have my humor a little bit that I had with Tim because this is serious, unless you and I smile about it.
Man,
Because at this
it,
point, I would at least want to see that I'm gonna have some kids and Shaq and NFL, give me the thought, right? So at this
yeah.
point, it gave you the life, and okay, we're good with that. But what I'm really interested in knowing is the emotion that was going through at this time, because obviously you have to have some emotion seeing the challenge of kids that you knew were your kids. Bro, you get what I'm saying? Brothers, I'm sorry, you knew, although you having these flashes, you were able to recognize those moments as if you already been there. Once again, you're being shown, then you already been there. It's like you know,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I had that. I had some emotions, but and it wasn't like I was seeing at this time.
Okay.
Um, I was just seeing this one child, this one young man. He
Okay.
looked like he was like 19 to 21 years old.
I got you.
And as I'm looking at the picture, the emotion that I had looking at it was almost like it was a picture I had lost or a son I had lost. Something
Mm,
like I knew this young man, even though I was only 3. That's
okay.
the emotion that I had.
That's where I'm going. Okay. I got you.
So I can continue and tell you what
Well,
else I saw, but um,
I want to touch on um man, my mind is moving 100%. And we're going to get to your daughter's, conversation later on in the show here, which I think is profound, and it connects a lot of dots. So let's pause for a minute, and we'll get into real quick. You've been following some of the same stories I had, and I'll put one up on the screen here real quick. And I think we did it earlier, and there's more facts out there. But here's a story of a kid, okay? And this particular kid was a 3-year-old, okay? And I'm gonna take it down here. He uh suddenly 3 years old, like you were, start telling right when he can talk, start telling his parents that he was killed. And they was baffled in the beginning, like, what the heck is he talking about? He's dreaming and what's going on? But then he ultimately started describing his own death, his before life. And then to make it a true story, everyone, he was able to tell his parents now, or whoever they were now, and said, "Hey, I even know, uh, I even know where the location of my body is that nobody has found."
hmm,
Now, I don't know how a dead person know where somebody buried them, but obviously it makes sense when you heard Tim earlier said how he was able to look back down on Earth. So obviously at this point, this little boy was able to tell them who killed him and where the location of the body, or he probably knew the last time he got hit because it was, I think, a shovel. I don't know what it was. But you heard other stories about that. There was other ones. Uh, wasn't it somebody about the Titanic? You heard that
yes,
story. Tell me a little bit
yes.
about that. Yeah.
Well, what made me start looking into all of this was one day me and my wife at the time we were watching TV, and our daughter came and She got in between us because we were both just sitting at the end of the bed watching TV. And just matter of factly, she said, "Where are my real parents?"
Whoa, your daughter. I'm okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, she said, where are my real parents?" And of course, we looked at each other like we didn't just hear our daughter say that, did we? And then we looked at her and we asked her, "What do you mean? Where your real parents? We're right here." She said, "No, I mean the ones that died." And we were like, "Whoa, what is happening?" You started asking her, "We're the only parents that we know you to have. Tell us about these parents that died." And she proceeded to tell us a story about how her mother and father died, and I forget exactly what caused the death, but I do know that she said her father was being killed, and then her mother got killed trying to help her father.
Okay, hold that thought. So, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people. And first of all, to the person, Mr. Perkins, he's in the chat, telling me let you move forward. You do
No,
agree. You do agree I'm the host of the show, right? Me and you are on the same page, right? Because obviously he
yeah,
don't get it. He definitely don't get it. And you okay with our conversation, correct?
yeah. And
So
besides, I'll be able to tell your listeners where they can go and listen to the whole story, so you guys won't miss
there you
anything.
go. You get what I'm saying? So Mr. Perkins, to you, salute. You go ahead. You can leave now if you want. You know, I just don't get it. And people, anyway, what I'm what I'm concerned with is there's a lot of people out there have heard their kids say some strange stuff and they didn't register it. And
Hmm.
they probably laughed it off if some kid said, "Hey, where's my parents? Where's such and such?" And they probably laughed it off, And so for you guys to hear it, and you probably and I say this because, and I want to show this video. We did a past life regression, Barbara Lamb and one of my truth seekers, and we filmed it. It was so dramatic because she went back to she was a woman, but she realized she was a boy in a past life, and she went all the way back to the concentration camps where they were just about put into this thing. And I said, we can't
Hmm.
show that. There's no way we're going to show this at this day of time in society that they were part of this Holocaust.
Yeah.
And so I had already been researching some of the stories. So when I came across you, and it was like, whoa, wait a minute. So where I'm going with this is, once your daughter has said to you, "Where is my real parents?" and you have already now getting these experiences, how do you look at your daughter now? Do you now wonder, how did we really make her, or is she really?
Well,
You know what I'm saying? Because you got to be
oh,
like,
well, okay.
really happening here.
I can understand. I guess I understand where you mean. How was I able to embrace it so easily? Okay,
Yeah.
well, here's why. Here's why. Because by now, because I got hit when I was 3, but I forgot about it all up until my brother died in 2010.
Mm,
And this is how I found out I died, and which will lead me into why I understood where my daughter was coming from, or why I was able to accept it. Well, when
okay.
he died of a heart attack, and he died in his sleep.
Sorry to hear that.
So I felt like I was cheated by death. I mean, because I didn't get a chance to say bye to him. I mean, as long as I've been on this planet, he's been on here with me. I just felt lost. I felt like I was on a different planet. I've never been on a planet in which my little brother wasn't here. So just being out of frustration, I just typed in, because I was thinking we grew up in church.
Mm,
So I was worried about him going to hell, and I knew what type of life he lived. I mean, he had just to show you what type of life he had. 10 women came to his funeral. So um
Pallbearers? They were pallbearers?
about 10 of them. Man, that was kind of funny. But
Okay.
Um, so when he died, though, I just typed in on Google, "What happens when you die?" So these things popped up called near-death experiences. So I'm watching one of the videos, and as I'm watching the videos, I'm thinking, this is like an oxymoron. How you gonna say you died, but you're still here? It just made no sense to me. But I'm watching this one video, And the guy, as he was describing things, and as you know, if he looked around, he would look around like he expected to see what he saw at the moment. I'm like, this guy ain't acting. I'm
Okay.
like, okay, well, let me pay a little closer attention to these people. So I'm watching this one video, and this guy had got with like a movie producer or whatever to give us a visual of what he was seeing, what he saw. So as I'm watching this video, um, he gets to this dark part and what he saw, and as I'm looking at it, I said, "Oh, I remember that," just like that.
Just like that.
And I said, "Whoa, what I mean? I remember that." And I backed away from the computer like it had just spoken words to me because I'm like, that memory was vivid, it was real, and it was strong. So I stepped away to go and ponder where this memory came from. So I stepped outside, and Roger, I tell you, it was like when I stepped outside, it was like God or Jesus or whoever opened up the floodgates to everything that I saw and everything that I felt, which you guys will find out about later. But when all of this memories came back to me, and I realized the video I was watching, I said that was death. I
Mm.
said that was death, and I was blown away because death. We look at death like it's something so scary. You know, in my book that we'll talk about, I said, we look at death like it's the pit bull when it was really just a poodle. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, it was just a poodle. So instantly, I'm looking at life completely different now. Because I got. Hold on, let me get a drink real quick.
Oh, take your
Um,
time, brother. Take your time.
love that tea. But anyway, um, so that's how I found out that I had actually died. So now we can fast forward to my daughter when she said that. Well, by now I had all the memory come back to me. I think it had been a couple of years now. Um, and so when she said that, I was able to reason it with what I experienced with my own self, and I was able to rationalize. Okay, well, I could see that because, Rod, we are spiritual beings
Mhm.
living a physical existence. You know, the truth is the truth, whether or not we believe her or not. It's the truth is the truth, and I knew that experience was as real as what we call reality now. As a matter of fact, what we consider death supersedes this. It supersedes all of this.
Watch out now.
And
But
yeah, oh
luckily
yeah, it
we on
supersedes all of
forbidden
this.
we on forbidden knowledge though. But watch out now.
Well, your audience is. I'm giving you guys the truth. That's why I came
We're
on your
truth
show
seekers. We're truth seekers.
because obviously you have listeners because they want to know the truth. They have questions,
Absolutely.
and if I can provide a few answers to not only them but whoever else that I'm gonna end up talking to as I begin to open up and let the world know what happened, then hopefully it's able. I'm able to help some people. So that's ultimately why I'm here. So that's the truth. Um, as I understand it, death is. And my book is called The Inevitable Illusion, and that's my
Where can they
definition of
find it?
death.
Where can they find the book?
It will be out in March.
Okay.
But the reason I call it The Inevitable Illusion is because that's my definition of death. It's inevitable, but we never die. So it's an illusion.
Mm,
So as I go through life now, the most important thing to me is, well, I know what happens after this.
okay.
Well, what is all this about? And that's pretty much where I'm at right now, trying to give answers. I mean, because even though I had this experience, you'd be surprised to know that I have more questions now than I had before. You
Well,
know,
I have a question, and then what we're gonna do is get Tim back in here and have both of you up to answer some questions with the audience. But could this backfire? And what I'm saying with this, putting this message out, the truth, could it backfire on society where more people decide, "Oh, well, the hell with this one, I'm gonna check out and start over and do some crazy stuff." You get what I'm saying?
You
Because
like okay, like
yeah,
well, I don't have to live this life. If we reincarnate, let me go ahead and kill myself.
let me, or yes,
Okay, well let me give
start
you my example of what I think that's not going to be the case because
okay.
let's say, for instance, like let's say Robin Williams,
Mm-hmm.
he killed himself,
Absolutely.
and what if we do reincarnate? What if we came here to learn certain lessons, to do certain things,
Right.
and we like write a contract, for instance, you know? What if we decide to come there to do certain things? Well, if we reincarnate and suicide is not an option, because if you decide that you're going to kill yourself, and then after you kill yourself, you find out you're going to have to be reborn and live basically that same life all over again
Mhm.
until you get to
Oh,
that same point.
okay.
You see where I'm going with it?
How about Groundhog Day? Now I got you.
You see what I'm saying? But that's a possibility. If reincarnation is in fact the truth, it opens up the floodgates to a whole lot of answers, and a lot of things start to make sense. With like if reincarnation is the truth. I grew up in church, so this was something that was hard for me to grapple with because my faith was unquestionable and unshakable, until it came down to something I saw with my own eyes that I had to give just as much validity to.
Mm,
And that's where I am right now.
wow. Well, you know what? First of all, I appreciate you really being here. We'll discuss how you feel and felt in a little bit. I'm gonna bring Tim back up so that we can go into a little different perspective with both of you here. Um, yeah, we could tell them where there's some audio, but I want the audience to wait for your book, and because it's suspenseful enough and get the real story from your perspectives. And we'll definitely have you back when that book is ready, so that we could, go into the book, some other things that you probably have told. But in the meantime, let's get Tim back in here, and all three of us is going to have some conversation here. Tim, thank you for waiting in the Why the Big Secret room. That's what we're going to call
No
it.
problem.
First of all, what do you think of Leonard's story?
That's a very interesting story. And the deja vu, it kind of hits home for me a lot, as I know it does with a lot of other people too.
Man, first of all,
Especially when you were talking about the out of body experience. It
mm,
sort of makes me think about what people go through with the sleep paralysis.
Yes, yes. That's
we did a
astral
whole story on
projection is
that.
what they
We
call
actually
that.
got a we actually got a whole we did a whole live stream on that 2 weeks ago. So if any of y'all want to go back, um, audience, and look at the street sleep paralysis and that. All right, so here's the deal, gentlemen. I did reach out to you. I shared with you about Project Black and where we are and the initiative of coming forward, starting our conversations with all of these stories. And you two were the first one said, "Hey, let's do it." And I appreciate you coming forward because a lot of times, a lot of people are not going to talk about some of this stuff. And to start with, uh, did you and start with you, Tim? How much ridicule have you probably gotten from telling this story, and if any at all? And the second part of that is, why the big secret? How come we just don't hear about these things all the time?
Because of the ridicule.
Okay.
When you tell somebody your story and then they start to when they feel like you're crazy or even call you crazy, you feel some kind of way about that, and it seems like our 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 biggest ridiculers is sometimes our family, you
Mm,
know. So, you're reluctant to tell your story, and in my case it was pretty traumatic to me, but I got a few different reactions. You know, some people not only felt like I was crazy, but some of the people who knew that I wasn't crazy ran from me,
Wow.
and
Even people who knew you said turned their back, from
well, it's one thing when you don't believe somebody's experiences. You can deal with that and you can cope with that. But what happens when you do believe their experiences and maybe you experience some of it with them?
Mm,
You know, sometimes that can scare people. Like, you know, the case I was telling you, my what's now my ex-girlfriend, what happened to me, it scared her to the point where her and her family ran from me. You know, they packed up and moved.
we're gonna have to say what happened to her now. She has her own experience. So, you know,
Right.
so hold that thought for a second. And if you're listening, our show is brought to you today by whoever's the highest super chat. Girl from the Bay is the highest. I want you to prepare I'm giving you a heads up, Girl from the Bay. One question for Tim and one question for Leonard. So you got two questions. And when you do put them in the chat, not is yet, put number one and number two. And we're gonna highlight your questions. Everybody else, I'm sorry, I know you're there, but this is a show sponsor. And if you want to be next, there you go. In $5 increments, you can support us and also come forward. All right, Leonard, same thing for you. You know, you have your story, and then all of a sudden this is incorporated with your wife at the time. And now all of a sudden it moves into the daughter that you both brought into this world. So did she know about this story? And then all of a sudden now your daughter is talking a certain way. So tell us how you felt at all of this in telling people around. Why the big secret? Did you? Because now you coming forward, but I'm sure not at first. So
Um,
let's go there.
um, actually, she was with me through finding out, that I had, caught a glimpse and everything,
Okay.
um, and she was able to see some evidence herself that it was true. I wasn't able to get into detail, but there are certain um, gifts that there are a lot of people that have these experiences come back with, and I had a certain gift that I was able to show her, and it kind of opened her eyes to the reality of it a little bit. Um, I wouldn't say okay. Just why the big secret. So there's not going to be any
That's
secret.
what I'm talking
Not
about.
going to be any secret. Here
That's
you go.
what we're gonna start doing
All
every
right.
week. We're gonna answer the question because we know what the what and the how, but
Okay.
nothing is more important than the why. So why the big
Okay. Um. Just let's. I'll give you guys an example. Okay. If you watch a movie
mm-hmm.
and if you watch a preview of a movie, well, when you get to that part in the movie that you watch, you're gonna remember it. Well, it's no difference than the life preview that I was able to see. When I get to certain points during my life, I was like, hey, I remember this. I remember this. At certain times, it's like I can actually remember a few seconds ahead of time.
Okay. Okay.
So, as a result of this, one day me and her were coming from the store, and I looked at my phone, and as I'm looked at my phone, I was basically like in the future a little bit, and I remembered that I was going to have a conversation on that phone with one of a big name person in the NDE community, and that ended up happening. To make a long story short, I ended up having that conversation,
Now NDE
and
stands for near death experiences, right?
yes, but
Okay.
that's just what it was called. But to me, there's no gray area. You're either here or you're there.
Okay.
Um, so hold on.
You good.
So yeah, so that's pretty much how she was able to. Once I told her that, and she saw me talking to the guy because he called me,
Mm,
and And I told her, I'm like, he's on the phone, just like I remembered. And that along with some other things, but she, believe me, she definitely believes it. And but you really, when you have these experiences like me and Tim, if it's the truth, you and it's something that's unheard of, you want to get it out, but it's you're repelled because people don't really want to hear it or they're scared. But the one thing I found out after my experience, because God or Jesus, whoever, he taught me a lesson, a real strong lesson with this gift that opened my eyes to how much power we give other people on this planet.
Watch out.
When we think about what somebody else is going to think about me, we're giving that person too much power over our life, you know. And when I realized that, and it was a cold shot how he did it, but I appreciated the understanding in which he gave to me, because I realized we give society too much power over our lives because we have to have this person's approval or this person's approval or this or that. And if I get the hot, this expensive this, then this person will like it. Well, when you realize that you're only doing that for the approval of other people, there's a lot of people out there. You can't please everybody.
Absolutely.
It's almost like a weight was lifted from my shoulders. That's why I can come talk to you and not worry about the aftermath of who won't believe it or who. The truth is the truth, whether or not it's believed. I know this is the truth. I lived it. I'm sharing it because for that person that might need to hear it, for that person that might need to come out and talk to somebody, but they're scared. Not for that person that's gonna doubt or troll or nothing like that, because we are all on this thing we call Earth together. We're all human, and we all brothers and sisters, and ultimately, we all gonna end up seeing exactly what I saw, or something to that effect. And
All
that's
right,
why I'm,
man. Okay, we got more, just a little bit. Uh, usually we're done, you know, back this time, but now we're moving forward into the future time, right? So, you said something that just stuck out as far as, you know, how you felt, the trauma. No, I wasn't going to use the word trauma, but just the fact that you had to hold this in, and then finally, good thing you didn't implode. You came out with it, and the same thing with Tim. And this is the journey that I say. You know what? It is time, and and I didn't want anybody to feel that because I said we got Project Black that it wasn't significant. And just exactly what both of you are saying. And we're talking about our community, number one, where it's something that we just cannot fathom in some of these stories. But what I'm hoping that this video get likes. I mean, we got 1,500 people, we got a few hundred likes. That's fine. That's not that important. But if you want to like the video, share it, please do, because it's part of the process of YouTube serving it to other people who's going to gain from here. What would you say, Tim? Now we're talking about UFOs. We're talking about this thing that, and Tim, I got two questions. Our sponsor had two questions, so let me get her two questions out of the way first, and then I got a question. And it's Tim. While I'm looking for those questions, I got my glasses here. If you were here, my boy, I'll be like, man, take that off. Let me see that scar.
I will show you too.
I'm telling you, I'd have been like, hey, this is what. Let me go back and find the two questions for our sponsor, and it's done rolled into the chat here. So I got to go all the way back. It's one for each one of you, and but I think I remember. Okay, here it is. Question for Leonard, and this is from Girlfriend of Bay, and that's our sponsor there. She said, "How do you feel now about dying?" That's the question for you.
it's ironic because um, it, I felt some peace. It's some good things over there.
Okay.
So when my brother died, and I went from when I found out right before I typed, I was tore up, and when I stepped outside, and those memories came back to me. I was like, oh, that's selfish so and so. Man, he could have stayed. I mean, I really believe that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it completely
That's
flipped.
what I was talking about a while
It
ago.
completely flipped.
Somebody just want to take themselves out. Like, you know what? This ain't working. Let me try it again. You know.
If I when it comes to death, I just probably worry about how it's going to be facilitated. But I'm not worried about the aftermath so much.
Okay.
Um, I just try. I'm basically living this life to try to be the best version of myself
Mm-hmm.
and to try to bring a little bit of on the other side to the world to make this world a better place as a result of me being here.
You've already done that, brother. Hang on a second. We're gonna close out here in just a minute. Tim, question for you. Do you think you and your brother's dreams are what happened during the glitch or when you gain time?
I have no idea.
Okay.
All I can do is speculate. I don't know if that is something that actually happened or if it's something that me and my brother both just happened to imagine, you know, just because of, what we went through. You know how the imagination can take over.
Yes, absolutely. Well, great answer there. It looks like we have some camera difficulties with Leonard, and we're going to be ending here in a minute anyway. And just pretty much. But so one of the things that for me, like I said, is taking us on this new journey. What would you say? So yeah, we did lose him. If he comes back in, I can bring him back on stage before we get out of here. What do you want to say to your critics or people who say, "Oh, this story may be crazy"? I'm sure there may be somebody out there in the audience or something. What would you say to somebody like that?
The reason why I am here telling you this story right now is because at this point, I don't care what you think. You can believe it or you can doubt it. It really doesn't make a difference to me. But ask yourself, why would I come to you and make up a story, and, just to make a fool out of myself?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I have nothing to gain by sharing this story with you. What I would hope that someone would get out of it is maybe you may learn something. Maybe it may open somebody's mind. Maybe they will be more willing to talk about an experience that they had, because over
Right.
the years I'm realizing that there's a lot more people that have had paranormal experiences, etc., than you would think. It's just
Mm,
that when people choose to talk about it and you ridicule them, they're going to be reluctant to talk about it again in the future, and that may actually hold us back. That may be one of the things that's holding mankind back right now, is because we look at other people and we laugh and we doubt, and then we uh, choose not to explore and investigate and maybe learn something new.
absolutely. Again, I thank you, audience. Uh, give Tim, our audience is a great audience. So if y'all all just say some good words to Tim, and then we'll get the last question here with Leonard. Um, for him sharing his story, the courage. Anyone else want to step up and be part of this Project B.L.A.C, where we're going to do some great things. And like I said, it's not an exclusion; it's included for everyone. But we're just going to dive into a community that there is a great disproportionate of stories, truths that's on the ground level, and this is where we're going to go with this. And I appreciate you guys being the starting point for my conversations to do this and everything else. So, Leonard, same question for you. Uh, what would you say to the people uh, who probably in this audience say, "No, this guy's crazy. This doesn't make any sense to me." What would you say to those people?
To those people, there's probably not much I can say, but it's it, I'm actually trying to reach the people who want to hear it. You know,
Gotcha.
you can't force feed somebody. It's either they want it or they don't. And I've came to the realization of that of when there's been times I try to tell people, and some people shy away from it, and others can't get enough of it. So I'm just trying to reach the people who actually want it, because those are the people I believe I was guided to talk to in the first place. I
Gotcha.
believe we're guided to a lot of things, um, and that's pretty much how I view it. And the reason I say I was guided, I think we're guided because I just for your audience, that picture that was paused on when I was 3 and that young man, I just recently found a son I never knew I had,
Mm,
and he sent me that same picture over the internet. So
wow.
I believe I was guided to find him. So
Mm.
I'm looking forward to being on your show again, and we can talk about all of that. But yes,
Well,
I'm trying to reach the people who actually need to hear it.
we're going Project Black. We're going to be doing workshops and tour. We're going to take this thing around to people. So definitely your story will be heard. Tim, I mean, we can, and more people, whether we do more of these type things and everything else. Um, but once again, I'm just, I hope that I made a difference for people tonight having you guys here. I hope that people see the vision of where we're going to be going with what we're doing. And so I'm going to give some final words to the audience. Um, Both of you, I'm going to put you back here, or y'all can go ahead and leave, and then I'll call you both offline and just thank you for your time and your courage and everything else. I have a final message to the audience. Fair enough?
Fair
Fair
enough.
enough.
Thanks for
All
having
right.
me on, bro.
All right. Okay. All right. So I think it's one of those things as we come to a close here. I hope you take serious about the movement, Project Black, the acronym, Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge. I hope you want to be a part of it. I hope you send your stories. Go to the Truth Seekers app where you can share it with other people, but there is a Project Black space there that you can put those stories and let's do this, man. We got to do this together. I've been dreaming about it. I've been putting it in my affirmations. I've already getting backlash from some of the people in ufology because they hearing I'm thinking it's a black thing, but it's not, and they're not understanding that I'm trying to just focus on a community, indigenous people, that these stories are not being told. They're either suppressed by society or whatever it may be, where we're not talking about it. And just to talk about it, other people see you, see me, and then they will come forward, and it helps the whole collective with things that people are dealing with. And I hope people understand it. And if you want to ridicule me and say something, I'm just like you. Forget them. Go away. You can go away. It's not your time. But if you're part of it, just come and watch. Next week, you're going to hear some more stories. I think we got 3 people. And then the week after that, we got 3 more. And we got 3. I mean, you're getting ready to go on a journey, but an educational journey, an emotional one, but an enlightening one. Not just here on Forbidden Knowledge TV, because we're here, but you can also going to come over to Why the Big Secret. So if you don't subscribe to my channel, you're going to miss 2 more stories throughout the week. We only come here once a week. And maybe Billy will say, hey, Roderick, you can do some more. This is Impact. And I'll come another day. But in the meantime, subscribe to, it's in the link down here in the description. You can subscribe to Why the Big Secret as well to get a heavy dose, because we're going all in. And I've always said, your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. It's time to think wide. And I'll make a promise to you, nothing will be as it was ever again when we now going down this road of Project Black. I promise you that we're going to make an impact. We're going to make a change. Much love. I love each and every one of you. I'm going to take you out with the manifesting You got to go to this. You got to attend the event. Billy is just awesome. And him and Liz has just been really instrumental in my life. I can't even explain the impact, the circle, the camaraderie, the love. And it's real people. And being around real people, you can make real change. Make sure you go to this event.
Hi, my name is Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge. You must be a part of my Manifest Destiny 2023 workshop. The last 4 years were absolutely amazing, and every year it got bigger and bigger as I impacted and touched more than 130,000 lives. With over 10,000 amazing testimonials over the last 4 years, this is something to grow on. This year is going to be the biggest and best year ever. All new science, all new quantum mechanics, all new metaphysics, all new manifesting techniques in a fully interactive online workshop that's going to blow your mind and set you and your family up for the rest of 2023. We have amazing guest speakers. We have the worldwide Tim Story. He's a life coach to the stars. He's an amazing teacher and a multi-times best-selling author on New York Times. We also have Elizabeth Hoekstra, another best-selling author, and her specialty is how to deal with the shadow work and the trauma, and how to clear your mind, and how to use modalities to clear your consciousness to help you get to higher levels. We also have Antonina coming on to teach trauma relief in a fully interactive trauma release class taught by a licensed person to help you release the trauma from your body. Trauma that's been impacted and stored in your body for a very long time. And I'm coming on to help teach all the manifesting techniques, the technology of the human body, how to access it, how to use it, how to fully utilize the laws of attraction to bend the matrix to your will and create the reality that you and your family deserve. Make sure you click the link ASAP in the caption of this video or in my bio and sign up on Eventbrite ASAP because space is limited. I want to see you there. Be ready for an explosive 2023. Peace.
All right, truth seekers. This is it. This is the end of the show. We will see you 8 o'clock Tuesday night here or on Why the Big Secret. We do streaming during the day at 3 p.m. And then we do, so we got a big dose for you. So hope you enjoyed the show. Send me some messages, email me, let me know if this is the route that you're willing to go down with me and with us on this journey, because I don't want to do it alone. Thank you very much. But I will. Love you.